She was down 16 points, on her home floor, in front of thousands of fans who were starting to go quiet. And what happened next didn't just save a basketball game. It sent a warning to every team in the WNBA that nobody is ready to hear. This is the story of the night Indiana Fever didn't just come back. This is the story of the night they became something different, something dangerous, something the rest of this league is going to have to start taking very seriously. Before we talk about the comeback, before we talk about the confrontation that nearly stopped the game, before we talk about Sophie Cunningham stepping into the fire and Caitlin Clark taking over a building, you need to understand what it felt like inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse when everything was going wrong. Because the size of the fall tells you everything about the size of the rise. Phoenix came in ready. Not just prepared, ready. From the very first possession, the Mercury played like a team with something to prove. Every rotation was crisp. Every rebound was contested. Every drive to the basket came with intention and physicality. Indiana's defense looked a step slow. The offense looked disconnected. And Phoenix kept piling on points like they had cracked the code on this building before most of the fans had even settled into their seats. Kalia Copper was a nightmare from the opening tip. Every time she attacked the lane, Indiana scrambled. She wasn't forcing anything. She was reading the defense and destroying it. Alyssa Thomas was doing what she's done her entire career, using her body, winning physical battles, wearing opponents down with relentless effort in the paint. Together, they were making Indiana look completely unprepared for this level of intensity. The crowd, which had arrived buzzing with anticipation, started going uncomfortable. The noise shifted. The energy shifted. And the most alarming part was this: it happened fast. Not gradually, not slowly over the course of a half. Phoenix ripped open a massive lead almost immediately, and Indiana looked like a team that had no idea how to stop it. By the time the first quarter ended, Phoenix led by 16 points. 16, in their building, against a team Indiana's fans had been watching grow all season. That number didn't just sting, it scared people. But here is the thing about this story that gets overlooked when people watch the highlights. While 17,000 fans were staring at the scoreboard in disbelief, while analysts were already building narratives about Phoenix imposing their will, while the energy inside the building drained out quarter by quarter, one player wasn't panicking. One player wasn't looking at the scoreboard. One player wasn't pointing fingers or forcing desperate shots or hanging her head. Caitlin Clark was talking. She was moving. She was communicating. And she was thinking about what came next instead of reacting to what had just happened. That is not as simple as it sounds. Most players, even great players, react emotionally to a deficit that size in that environment. The crowd frustration becomes pressure. The pressure becomes rushed decisions. The rushed decisions become worse possessions. And a game that was already slipping away starts falling off a cliff. Clark reversed that entire process not with a speech, not with a flash of anger, but with composure. Quiet, relentless, undeniable composure. She started seeing things before they happened. Which defender was leaning the wrong way? Which rotation was arriving half a step late? Which matchup Phoenix had been hiding? She wasn't reacting to the game anymore. She was reading it like a book she had already finished. And the moment she identified the cracks, she stopped waiting and started attacking. The comeback didn't happen all at once. That is not how real momentum works. It built piece by piece. A smart pass that created an easy layup. A defensive stop where Indiana suddenly looked like the more aggressive team. A drive where Clark absorbed contact and finished anyway. Then another stop. Then another basket. The lead started shrinking. And Phoenix, which had looked impossibly comfortable just minutes earlier, started looking at each other for answers that weren't coming. The crowd felt it before the scoreboard showed it. That is one of the most fascinating things about momentum in a sold-out arena. The energy in the building changes before the numbers catch up. Fans went from concerned to curious to loud. And then suddenly they were on their feet, loud the way they get when something special is building that nobody can quite explain yet. Then came the play that changed everything. During a physical sequence between Clark and Phoenix veteran Dana Bonner, contact occurred that lit the arena on fire. Not just angry, genuinely furious. Fans erupted immediately. Players reacted. And when officials made their ruling, the decision sent a wave of disbelief through every section of the building. It didn't matter which side you were on in the debate. What mattered was what that moment did to the atmosphere. The temperature inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse went from hot to something that felt almost uncontrollable. And then Sophie Cunningham moved. No hesitation. No looking around to see what others would do first. No calculation about cameras or optics or technical fouls. She saw her teammate in a situation she didn't like, and she responded the way teammates respond when they genuinely care about each other. She stepped directly into the storm. There are moments in sports that transcend the game itself. Moments where something happens on the floor and you realize you are watching something about people, not just athletes. This was one of those moments. It wasn't the basketball play. It was the decision. It was the instinctive choice to protect someone even when the cost was uncertain. And 17,000 people recognized it immediately. The building exploded. What had already been a comeback in progress suddenly became something personal. Every possession afterward felt like it carried extra weight. Every whistle drew a massive reaction. Every Indiana basket felt like a statement. The Mercury were no longer just trying to protect a lead. They were trying to survive an environment that had completely turned against them. Clark, to her enormous credit, did not let the emotion derail her. She stayed locked in. That is harder than it sounds when the crowd is screaming and your blood is pumping and the injustice of a call is fresh in your mind. She processed it, she focused, and she went right back to work. Because Clark understood something that separated this night from others. The game wasn't over, and her team needed her to keep thinking, not just reacting. Then Phoenix stepped to the free throw line, and what followed might have been the loudest sustained moment of the entire night. Thousands of fans united in a single sound, pouring everything they felt, the frustration, the anger, the belief, the passion, into noise. When the shot missed, the eruption that followed didn't just celebrate a missed free throw. It released everything that had been building for the past 10 minutes. At that point, Phoenix had the scoreboard, but Indiana had the game. What came next was Caitlin Clark at her most dangerous. Not highlight reel dangerous. Not 30-foot shot for social media dangerous. The dangerous version that defenses genuinely cannot figure out. She was pulling up from deep when defenders backed off. She was driving the lane when they stepped up. She was finding open teammates when they doubled. She was creating advantages that didn't exist and turning them into points before Phoenix could rotate. 24 points. 9 assists. Efficient, purposeful, devastating. But here is what made it truly special. She wasn't doing it alone. Kelsey Mitchell made Phoenix pay every single time they tilted too far towards stopping Clark. The moment a Mercury defender shifted their focus, Mitchell attacked. She finished through contact. She knocked down jumpers. She generated exactly the kind of secondary scoring that turns a star-driven team into a team that nobody can stop. Phoenix tried adjusting. It created new problems. They tried adjusting again. Mitchell was already one step ahead. Monique Billings was fighting for every rebound that Indiana didn't deserve statistically, but earned physically. Second chance opportunities that kept possessions alive. Offensive boards that broke Phoenix's spirit one at a time. She was doing the invisible work that only matters when you look at the final score and wonder how it got that lopsided. The defense was suffocating. The same Phoenix offense that had looked unstoppable in the first quarter suddenly couldn't breathe. Passing lanes were closed. Driving lanes had help waiting. Contested shots became the new normal. Indiana had completely altered the physical and mental tone of the game from one end of the floor to the other. By the third quarter, the game had completely flipped. Not narrowed. Not tied. Flipped. Indiana had gone from trailing by 16 to leading by more than 20. The same Phoenix team that had celebrated a dominant first quarter was now running out of time and out of answers on a road floor that felt like it was closing in around them. That swing, 16 down to 20 up, is not a normal basketball swing. That is a total reversal of control. That is one team completely breaking another one's will over the course of a game. That is not something that happens by accident. That happens because a roster figured something out and refused to let go of it. When the final buzzer sounded, Indiana had everything. The comeback, the statement, the victory, the moment. But what this game revealed goes so much deeper than a single win. Great teams win when everything is going right. But what happens when everything goes wrong? What happens when the crowd goes quiet and the opponent controls everything and the deficit grows and the minutes pass and nothing is working? That is when you find out what a team really is. That is when you find out whether the culture people talk about in press conferences actually exists when the cameras capture something nobody planned for. Indiana found out something about themselves that night. And so did everyone watching. For much of this season, The conversation about the Fever centered on Caitlin Clark. Could she translate her college dominance to the professional level? Could the team around her develop fast enough? Could Indiana compete against veteran squads with more experience and toughness? Those were the questions, and they were fair questions. Against Phoenix, Indiana answered them all at once. Clark isn't just a scorer anymore. She is a franchise cornerstone. The kind of player whose composure becomes contagious. When she doesn't panic, her teammates don't panic. When she believes the game can be won, the team starts believing it too. That is not something you can coach directly. That is leadership at its most fundamental level, and it showed up exactly when Indiana needed it most. But the rest of the roster is no longer just background. Mitchell is a genuine weapon. Billings is a force in the physical game. Cunningham is the kind of teammate every champion needs, someone willing to step into the storm without calculating the cost. The depth that critics questioned earlier in the season showed up on the biggest stage the Fever have created this year. And Gainbridge Fieldhouse is no longer just a home arena. It is becoming an advantage. Teams that walk in there now walk into noise, passion, and an environment that amplifies every Indiana moment and swallows every opponent's mistake. Phoenix experienced that firsthand, and there is no question that building had an impact on the final outcome. Here is what the rest of the WNBA needs to understand. No lead feels safe anymore. No game plan that focuses only on stopping Clark is going to work when Mitchell is ready to take over. No defensive scheme survives an Indiana team that is starting to play with genuine collective confidence. And no opponent is going to walk into that building and feel comfortable once the crowd fully wakes up. This game will be remembered for the highlights. The comeback, the confrontation, the crowd, the Clark performance. But the players inside that locker room will remember it for something different. They will remember the moment they proved to themselves that they can survive the worst and come out better on the other side. They will remember the moment the belief became real, not just in what they want to become, but in what they already are. And if that belief keeps growing, if this chemistry keeps developing, if the depth keeps producing, if Clark keeps elevating everyone around her, then this comeback against Phoenix will not be remembered as just an exciting regular season victory. It will be remembered as the night Indiana stopped being a story and started being a threat.